Cowabunga, everyone. Thank you for coming to check out another amazing ICONICON panel that we have for today. We've got a good one that's really going to hit home for a lot of you. I'm excited for this one because it is about one of our favorite movies of all time for many of you. For those of us around kind of this age, 1990 was a special year. We had a great brand in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the cartoon was on fire. Toys were amazing. We all had them. And then out of nowhere comes an amazing piece of film, a movie that still holds up to this day, and that is the live-action version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we are going to spend the next 90 minutes talking about this fantastic piece of film. And I've got some special guests with me today that are just as big of fans of this movie as I am. And we're going to share our experiences with you and what the movie means to us and a little bit about, all the direction of it. So let's get on into it. I'm going to bring in my first guest, Jeremy. Let me unmute you. There you are.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Good to see you again, Bobby.
How's it going?
Hey, not too
we were
bad.
just on a stream earlier today, which was great. But Jeremy, introduce yourself. Tell folks a little bit about you.
So my name's Jeremy Jernigan. I'm been a lifelong collector, big TMNT enthusiast. Right now I've formed a company called Authority Figure, and we are in the business of creating companion products for new and existing action figure lines, more notably tabletop combat strategy board games. That's what we're doing.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right. My next guest, you know him from a little channel called 2 Cents Toys. Sal, please introduce yourself.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Sal. I feel like this looks very familiar. The three of us on a stream. It may have happened earlier today. I can't recall. For legal reasons, I'm supposed to say Bossa Nova.
Bossa Nova.
Or Chevy Nova.
Too derivative.
Yeah. Wow.
Excellent.
Starting already. All right. And last but not least, good friend of mine from way back when, Mr. Alex Sanchez of the Infinity Equation podcast.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Alex Sanchez. I'm an illustrator, a comic book cartoonist for the better part of 20 years now, and friend of Bobby's from way back in art school.
Yeah.
So that's who I am. And a big turtle fan.
And a
of
big
this
turtle
movie
fan.
in particular.
Which is why I've assembled this cast of characters, because we all love turtles, and we all specifically love this movie. And that movie is, again, the 1990 version live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. So we're going to talk a lot about this movie. And first thing we're kind of going to discuss is I want all of my guests to take a turn and go around and tell me about if you remember the first time seeing this movie, where you were, and your experience with it. So I'm going to kick it off to Jeremy, and let's hear from you first, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So I definitely remember the first time I saw it. I remember the first time I saw the theatrical trailer for it, and then you showed that image from the promotional poster right there, and that was like, that image was burned in my mind. I remember the part in the trailer where that foot soldier takes the swing at Mikey, right, and he ducks his head down into the shell. He's like, "God, I love being a turtle." I was just super pumped. We saw it, I want to say opening weekend, and then wound up seeing it, I think, with my dad. I want to say 2 or 3 times in theaters, because he loved that movie too. So it was cool for the kids. It was cool for the adults. Fantastic.
Cool. Alex, when did you first see this?
Like Jeremy, I actually remember seeing the trailer that they premiered during weekday morning cartoons. It was probably why we were watching the TMNT cartoon. And by that point, I was like recording like all my favorite cartoons so I can like pause them and like draw along to like the animation. So I remember I recorded that, and like years later, I still had like the VHS copy, and I would look back at that commercial for the movie that when it came out, that they were the trailer, and the voice acting is like completely different in that one scene, Jeremy, that you just mentioned, where he sticks his head inside his shell. It wasn't like the actor that was in the movie, and I always found that weird whenever I think about that. But I actually saw the movie. I remember seeing it opening day with a family friend. I was 12, about to turn 13, and I saw it a few more times after that. That's for sure, and about 100, plus times at least, in the last 20 years or whatever. So, yep, that's my memory. First seeing.
Awesome. Sal, please share with us.
Well, I was 1 when it came out, so I did not see it in theaters. The first time I saw it was sometime at a very young age on this very copy of the VHS movie. That is the one I've had since I was a kid. I watched it more times than I care to count, probably. I watched it more than I ever watched the cartoon. So the movie Turtles, I've got Leo here. They were my favorite versions as a kid because they looked like the movie. So, and I unapologetically love all 3 of them.
We're gonna get into that a little bit later in the show.
He just wants to get to that. Even like backstage,
know,
he was like just wants to talk about part 2 and 3.
It's interesting having Sal's perspective because, guys, for those of you watching, Sal is younger than the 3 of us, so it's his experience is very different. So it's cool to have his take because I think the 3 of us, me, Alex, and Jeremy, kind of share how we feel about the sequels, and then Sal probably feels a different way just because it impacted him differently because of his age. So
different from us, but not really different from everyone at his age. I mean, we'll get into it, but
yeah. Now for me, I saw this in the theaters. I don't remember if it was opening day or anything like that, but I do clearly remember seeing it in the theater. I don't remember the trailer though, but I remember seeing that poster like everywhere. The poster I showed earlier. But I was a huge Turtles fan. I watched, obviously the cartoon. I had the toy, so it was like a movie, yes. And it's like having a movie that was as impactful as '89 Batman to then kind of follow it up with Turtles. It's like, man, you couldn't it was a nice segue, because they were done in very similar veins. And I think that's why this movie kind of holds up the way it does, is because it was almost piggybacking off of what Batman did, even though they probably weren't trying to, but it had that feel, that gritty, dark, real feel to it. And I think us as kids, watching the cartoon and seeing it in that sense, but then it made the movie made it so grounded. You're just like, whoa, Turtles, like this could be real. And I think that's why this movie was kind of so important. I mean, you look at the costumes, like these were some of the greatest costumes made. I don't remember if it won any sort of awards or anything like that, but Jim Henson Studios did an unbelievable job with these costumes. They didn't look cheesy. They looked so real. The actors that were moving in it and doing all the moves, like when they're fighting Shredder at the end, like everything looked so like perfect.
Yeah, I can't emphasize how important the lighting is in this movie. So there were like a few production companies. New Line Cinema distributed it. Golden Harvest was like the actual production part of it. When Golden Harvest, if you guys who might not be familiar with them, I mean, they were like the gateway kung fu movie corporation, like for kids in like the United States, like all those Jackie Chan films from the 80s and Michelle Yeoh kung fu flicks from like the late 80s. They were the ones that were bringing that stuff to home video over here. So they were in charge of like the action scenes, and it's really like a kung fu flick disguised like as a kids movie. So
Sure.
but the lighting is so, because I mean the special effects and the suits alone were great. They still hold up to this day. Like I will put those up against any CGI created, whatever, whatever they're going to come out with in the next few years. I'll put it up against anything. Those suits are timeless, and under the perfect lighting, even like the foot soldiers here, under the perfect lighting, it just, if there are any mistakes that makes it look unrealistic, like it's got like a veil because of the light over it, because of the lighting in the movie. So yeah, and the musical score, of course, too, is also a great soundtrack.
Score is definitely fantastic.
Yeah. Even the musical soundtrack, like with all like the pop hits and stuff, when that came out, I listened to, I mean, to this day, I still listen to that. It's got Partners in Crime, Turtle Power. I think that's the best. I think it's the best Turtle theme song ever.
Wow, bold statement. I'd have to agree with you.
I don't know. Have you heard Pizza Power from the Coming Out of Our Shells tour?
I was not only did I hear it, I was there live at Radio
it's a
City
banger,
Music
man.
Hall.
It's a banger,
dude. I was like the oldest guy. I think it came out in like '93 when that tour was happening, and by that point I would think it was like 13 or 14, maybe even 15. And I was like the oldest kid in the whole entire hall, and like I was like right in the front row, and it was terrible.
I had the VHS. I never got to see it live, but I had the VHS and I watched it pretty regularly, man.
Yeah. Well, it's a moment. That's why I had to get those NECA versions of them, the action figures.
That was an easy purchase. That was an easy purchase.
They're so ugly. It's beautiful.
I got behind everything movie Turtles NECA put out except that.
So even if you don't like the way they look, the accessories and like the soft good vests, jean vests, and the guitar instrument, it's great. And then the actual box is a state. Anyways, we're getting out. Let's get back to the movie.
All right, so moving on, we're gonna go through the next segment where I want to hear you guys tell me what is your favorite part of this movie. So Sal, why don't you start us off? Tell us your favorite part and why.
Oh, well, it's a toss-up between either April kind of monologuing the montage while she's doing the sketches, talking about the turtles and all that, or where they kind of summon the spirit of Shredder at that little bonfire thing. It's one of those two, only because, again, this movie is all I had to go on, really, as a kid. So that was like a chance for me to get to know the turtles and how they work with each other instead of just like the cheeky dialogue and the kung fu fighting, because you get a real, like, I guess not character study, but you get an analysis of each turtle and how they are to their other turtles. So she's like, oh, this is, Leo hasn't left Raph's side, this, that, and the other. And then hearing Shredder being like, listen, like, I'm here, this is your last lesson, is that I love you all. And then they're just all crying and stuff, and it's great. Wow, I also like the taxi cab driver. Like, looks like a large turtle in a trench coat.
It looks like some kind of big turtle.
Jim Largo, thank you for the super chat. That is very funny. We'll see. Jeremy, what impacted you in this movie?
So are we talking favorite scene or favorite like shot or like
favorite scene?
Favorite scene is the rooftop final confrontation at the end, where there's like this reprieve in the battle, and they're all kind of taking a knee together, and like Shredder's just kind of pacing in the back,
like
waiting for one of them to come. And
I'll wait.
Yeah,
I'll wait. Take your time.
You go ahead, put your heads together, figure out how exactly you're going to lose, right? And then so they start coming after him again, and there's right before it goes to Casey, Mikey loses rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
Because it is his turn to go, and you just see him go, whoa, like that, and then it's gone, and it's I watched it 3 days ago, I think, in preparation for this, and it still popped me when I saw it then. I legit LOL'd. So that's probably my favorite part.
Well, that's because he walks like a chicken. he does like the Playmate squat pose and
that now you put me on spot, because I have to now, while Alex is going, I have to come up with a new scene, because that was my scene. But
Oh, damn.
I definitely want to just like talk about that scene for a second, because for those of you who haven't watched the movie in a while, even if you just go back and just watch that fight scene, I'm telling you, the way the turtles look when they're fighting, flawless. Like, even though they're in big rubbery costumes, it looks so good when they're fighting. It's a really good battle. The fact that he takes on all of them, Leo kind of gets that only shot in on him, but it makes Shredder look like a great villain. You've this buildup of him through the whole movie, and then all of a sudden he fights, and you're just like, oh shit! Like, that's why he's awesome.
Yeah, he walks the walk too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like you guys, my favorite scene is the rooftop fight scene. I, to this day, have the entire choreography for that fight scene between all four of them memorized. Like, to this day, I remembered it when I got the VHS tape. I watched it over and over again. I tried to remember that fight scene, the choreography, so I can later on I could go hang out with my friends and we can act it out. And it just always stuck to this day, all the way up until I love the scene all the way up until Leo gets pissed off, like you were saying, and he comes back and he flips him, and then he's about to, stick the poker or whatever in him. And if you pause the movie and you see Leo's face, he's grinning, like his teeth is like, he's like, because he's got that thing almost up against his neck, and that face, like, I don't know if you guys can picture it. It's like, it's always stuck in my head. I guess it's basically because Leo's like my favorite turtle. But yeah, that fight scene is just like, it's just the best part of the movie. It's hard to pick, but
yeah,
it's the best part.
Listen, it's awesome. I think if I had to pick now, because you guys picked that one, it's like the Casey Raff scene, I'd probably have to go with as a really close second. It's very funny. I was a big Jose Canseco fan back then.
Oh, that part.
So to me, it was like,
Jose
they
Canseco.
talking about Jose Canseco.
Tell me you didn't pay money for that,
right? But I mean, to me, like, with Shredder looking as good as he did, Casey Jones, I feel like, looked really good. I mean, listen, every costume in the movie looked good. So it was like, there's not it. This is probably going to be blasphemy. I'm going to say that I would say that April probably looked the worst because she was so far removed from her character. But when you take a guy in a hockey mask and a dude with razor blades all over him, how do you make them cool? And like, they made them really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Casey. Well, the costume design for Casey is it's almost ripped out of the pages. With the exception of his midriff shirt that he had that showed his abs. I don't know how that would translate to film very well. So, but the costume design for him was fantastic. But yeah, April is kind of a weak point as far as costumes are concerned.
Yep. She is.
Even down to like the Casey's mask, like the one in Sal is displaying. It's pretty close to the way the comics were. I mean, I think his hair's slightly longer. He kind of had more of that Sid Vicious kind of punk rock cut. Mm-hmm. But when I saw April, like, I wasn't totally mad at it because I had seen the comics before the cartoon, and in the comics she kind of had like that frazzled hairsprayed 80s hair too. And this actress here, Judith Hoag, was kind of rocking a little bit of that, but in a lighter shade. So the thing that bothered me more was like, because I was way into the cartoon at that point, it was like no yellow jumpsuit. Yeah. But she did have like that one
the jacket,
the raincoat in the beginning, which I think you have the special exclusive.
I sure do. Alex asks me for it all the time.
I need it. But
that and my spirit splinter.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's not like she was terrible. But like, to me, it's like, even like now, it's like she was great. She played the role fantastic. But for those of you who know, I think she said she didn't want to be in a yellow jumpsuit. So I think she gave them kind of like a bone and said, you could put me in a yellow raincoat for 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, it's okay because everyone else, if there was going to be someone that doesn't look good, I'm okay with it being April. The Foot Clan looks amazing. Shredder is perfect.
Yeah.
The Turtles are flawless, and Casey's so good.
Yeah. And Splinter too. Let's not forget about Splinter.
Oh, that's right. We can't forget about Splinter because, again, Jim Henson Studios, pretty unbelievable work they did with this movie.
Yeah.
The puppeteering, the look of them.
Well, I mean, Henson's Creature Shop has a batting average of God tier. You know what I mean? Like they always knock it out of the park every time they're on a project. But that Splinter was exceptional.
Yeah.
I think this was the last movie that he kind of had any involvement in before he passed away, and like the majority of the work was really being done by his son Brian Henson.
Mm-hmm.
So just the puppeteering. The one part, like one thing that really convinces me, like when I was a kid, or convinced me when I was a kid, that this thing almost was like lifelike, was that one close-up scene where he's having a heart-to-heart with Raphael with the match light on, and you see Splinter's nose and it's wet, and it just reminded me of like my cat at the time, or what a real creature of that size would look like. So it was just really convincing special effects. And again, the way they shot it, the lighting and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was interesting during the portion of the movie where he's held captive at the Foot Clan's base of operation when he's chained up, to the chain link. He's very. It's like they came and they hit him with a spritzer, every 30 seconds, because he's damp the entire time. Which I thought was interesting, and I was like, oh, he's sweating, and I was like, can they even sweat? Like I didn't get it, but it looks cool. I like it.
Yeah,
I assume that they kept him underneath like a storm drain or something as part of his capture torture thing, so he's constantly getting dripped on.
Could be.
I always thought they were just beating the crap out of him, and that was just like sweat, because he also had a cut or somewhere along, right? He was like bleeding too.
Wasn't that when Shredder backhanded him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But he was beat up by that point too, I believe.
Well, and you don't see like how they take him, so like
right.
I always wondered about that. Like when the Foot came to the lair and he was there, it's like, did he put up a fight? Did he take out like 6 or 7 of them first? And then they got to him, like they overwhelmed him? Part of me wants to believe that happened.
Yeah.
If I can jump in, I've always kind of had this theory, and this is me thinking about Ninja Turtles way too deep, right? Is that Splinter was taken by Shredder intentionally to get his 4 sons to start acting like a unit together.
Oh, that's a stretch. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Jerry.
Look, it's just my headcanon, right?
That's like some special edition rewriting right there.
Right?
Maybe. But like I said, I think about TMNT way too much. But those are the places you go,
Yeah.
It makes sense to me.
All right. So moving right along, the next topic I'm really interested in to hear your guys' take on it. Now, I said at the start of this thing that this movie still holds up to this day. I watch it 2 to 3 times a year. It's kind of one of those go-to movies when I'm working in the office and I just need to put something on like in the background. It's such an easy movie to go to because it's, I know all the lines, I know all the scenes, but it really does hold up. To me, it's like in a league with Empire Strikes Back, where this movie, as old as it is, like none of it seems real dated because it's so great and impactful. And, Alex, you touch on special effects. And when I think about it, there's really no special effects in this movie. There's no, animation or anything like that. It's all traditional. So what I want to ask you guys is, what do you think about this movie makes it still hold up and be so good, however many years later, 20 or 30 years later now? Right? 30, 20? I'm terrible at adding. Yeah.
It's 31.
31. So, Jeremy, let's hear from you first. Why do you think this movie is still amazing today?
Uh, I would say because I don't think at any point in time during the production of this film they ever phoned it in at all. They were giving it their 100%. And I mean, even looking at it like as an adult, someone who just like turned 40, looking at this thing from a cinematography standpoint, some of the shots that they got, like the first time that we're introduced to Shredder in that big assembly area, and the camera is like over the top, right? And it comes down behind him as he's, and then it comes down and then circles around him.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic shot. And there's so many cool little things that you can pick out in this movie. And like I said, it's because they never phoned it in, and it would have been so easy for them to do that. You knew this was going to make money already, but they took the time to make a quality product. And if you put in the work to make quality, it's going to hold up.
Sure. Sal, what are your thoughts?
I'm kind of on the same train of thought with Jeremy. I think part of the reason it holds up is because they didn't cut corners, especially in the special effects and the costume department.
Mhm.
Like they could have easily have never shot the turtles from the waist down and just made them like, half puppets or whatever. Or they could have just put guys in a suit with really, really bad masks or something. But another part of it, I think, is it's a perfect blend between the Eastman and Laird comics and the cartoon. Like, it's pretty much, I would consider it a very faithful comic book adaptation of the Eastman and Laird.
Mm-hmm.
Sans, the rooftop fight, how that ends in the comic.
Mm-hmm.
But it has enough of the cartoon elements to keep both fan bases happy.
Yeah, and it's something I meant to add to the last of what I was saying. Hats off to them for taking the risk of going dark with this.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, I made the statement that it was going to make money either way, but I think making it a darker film like that was a risk on their part that I'm really glad that they took.
Well, if you've seen I think in the Toys That Made Us, they talk about it, how someone, I forgot who it was talking to, one of the kind of the merchandising guy for, the Turtles team. And he was like, "Oh, you went that direction? Well, good luck with that." And it was like, then the movie opens up and it's just, it makes tons of money.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think a lot of that was probably attributed to, 89 Batman. I wonder if 89 Batman didn't happen, would Turtles have been as successful as it was? Would we have been ready for it if we didn't already have what Tim Burton did with Batman?
I feel like if the gamble hadn't, or the dice hadn't been cast on Batman, that we may not have even gotten TMNT, the movie. Because Batman obviously wasn't the first comic book hero movie of all time, but I think that kind of really opened up the gateway, especially with, we had Batman and then this Dick Tracy, things like that, where, there's a precedent set for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we may, if we'd gotten a movie, it probably would have been animated had it not been for Batman.
Mm-hmm. 100% agree. I think Batman '89 was a catalyst for a lot of the stuff that we saw going forward when it comes to kids properties or
Mm-hmm.
comic book properties turning making it their way to the silver screen.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I'm not entirely sure, because the cartoons premiered in '87. We're talking about 3 years of successful money making, merchandising making, how do you say, what's the word I'm looking for, guys? Just they were making a lot of money by that point. So when I think the movie is kind of like the culmination of that first wave. And also, I mean, this movie was shopped around for a good year or two. If you guys watch that documentary, Ninja Turtles, Turtle Power, the definitive history of Ninja Turtles, they talk about all of, the production behind the film and how it wasn't easy to find a distributor or even a company house that was willing to make it, because it was a kid's property. So
I would agree with you to an extent on that. Given the success that it had, it was going to become a movie, right? But
yeah.
I think the reason that it didn't turn into G.I. Joe the movie or Transformers the movie and go
Because
the
of
animated
Batman
route
89.
was because
Right.
a comic book character could be successful in live action.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that too. But the reason I think it's still reverberates with fans today is because I think they did a really good job of keeping, like, the dialogue wasn't convoluted. Like, it was pretty basic. If you take away like some of the costuming of some of the characters like April, you can kind of fit this movie in kind of any decade since then. So I think they did a really good job with the fight sequences. The dialogue still holds up. The cinematography, like you mentioned, and just like the popularity of these characters afterwards too. I mean, these characters continue to live on, I mean, to this day. So and then you have all the people that were following the Turtles since like the publishing, since the comic book days. So those are the reasons why I think it still holds up.
Yeah. Sal, you have anything else to add to why this movie's still amazing? You're on mute, Sal. Oh, there you go.
Well, I'm partially muted because my asshole neighbor has decided to vacuum his rugs out in our hallway. So if that comes across my microphone, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Because, you know, consideration for others and their living accommodations just doesn't exist here. So,
unfortunately.
But no, I think we pretty well nailed it on the head. The only thing I would add, and this is going to be a stretch, maybe a hot take, I don't know, but I like to think that because TMNT happened, you know, they clearly adapted that dark comic book, because for those who, I assume everyone here has read Eastman and Laird and how dark that comic really is. I think because of that we were able to get The Crow later on.
Mm-hmm.
Because it showed like, oh, we can, you know, adapt a darker story and people will go see it. So,
Not a bad theory.
This is a good one from my good friend Michael French here. I know that's a bold statement. I know. But I was kind of half serious, but also half trying to like illustrate how like it's like the importance of it for me. Now, granted, we are a little different in age range, and I think Turtles kind of affects people a little differently with age range. I think we can all kind of get behind 89 Batman. We can all kind of get behind Empire Strikes Back, but Turtles is one of those things that maybe, you know, waves through age ranges.
It does.
I hate to say it, but it's kind of one of those you had to be there things, right?
Yeah,
it was a phenomenon.
Yeah, it was.
Like you couldn't get away from them.
Yeah.
So
everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, I mean, it was like Simpsons, Bart Simpson T-shirts, you know, 89 Batman, and like Ninja Turtles everywhere.
Yeah.
In every grocery and supermarket, in every toy store. I mean, it was just everywhere. I
still have my slap bracelets. Yeah, I have my TMNT slap bracelets still. I mean, I'm looking at I have my copy of the Coming Out of Our Shells cassette tape displayed in my TMNT area right there. Yeah, it's like you couldn't escape it.
Yeah, dude, I have my Ninja Turtle bowl that was attached to the cereal box in my office, along with an original wrapper for a Hostess Ninja Turtles pie. Which, let me tell you something.
Those are great. Oh,
listen.
Oh, the ones with the green filling in there?
Yeah.
We're gonna listen,
so good.
We're gonna
and they were
segue.
green.
We're gonna take over the show. We're gonna segue right now. We're gonna talk about Ninja Turtles Hostess pies right now. For those of you who didn't, what was that, Sal?
But tell me about the pies.
For those of you that didn't get to experience the Hostess Ninja Turtles pies,
I didn't.
They were like, if you go to the store and you see the Hostess pies and they have like apple and cherry and stuff, this was a pie that was filled with vanilla pudding and then coated with green. Glaze.
Yeah.
The thing was amazing. I'm telling you, I ate them every day. And if I ever get to the point where one day maybe I'm like filthy rich, I will go to Hostess and I'll be like, how much do I have to pay you to do a run of Ninja Turtle pies? Because we've never had them since. And I feel like we're
for
lost
some reason
without
I feel like they've tried though.
Did they?
And it just obviously not.
It's just one of those things. Like the Hostess TMNT pies was right there with like Ecto Cooler.
Well, so when they brought back the Ghostbusters movie, they brought back Ecto Cooler. So I thought like, oh well, bring back Turtles and we'll get, you know, Ninja Turtle pies. Nope. How dare they?
Yeah.
How dare they? Listen, man.
not to rain on your parade, but the FDA is very different nowadays. So you probably wouldn't get the same taste or same flavor. It would just be sadness in a wrapper.
Yeah.
This is it might be one of those things where if they do make it, then I'm just like, this is not what it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Then again, it's been 20 years, so who knows if I'm remembering it the right way.
You could probably find one on eBay.
So the wrapper, you could find people selling the wrappers. That's how I got my wrapper. I've yet to find someone selling a sealed pie. Now, I've seen people sell the sealed cereal. Like I have a sealed box of Batman 89 cereal.
Do you have the one with the coin bank on it?
Yes, I do.
My man.
And it's and you shake the box, and the cereal is just a brick.
It's
so like I think if someone were to have a Ninja Turtle pie, I can't even imagine the condition that it would be in.
You would eat it.
I mean, I ate. Listen,
you would try it because you tried that bubble gum out.
Didn't I eat the bubble gum?
You did. You did.
9 Batman bubble gum from the card on the Infinity Equation. It was awful. I would not recommend it.
I do have memories regarding those package things because I had two cups from TMNT. It was a green cup and it had like a sewer pipe for a handle, and then the other one was a manhole cover, and they came shrink wrapped to boxes of Cookie Crisp.
Yeah, yes they did. Yes they did. It's always amazing that when I think back on it, it's like the Batman cereal had the bank, cellophane to it. The Turtle cereal had the bowl. It's like, one, how did they manage to get through shipping without coming off? And two, it's like they were just in the store, like no one was stealing them. Like I feel like today that would never fly. You never have
either LeBron James
bowl. Huh?
It would be like the LeBron James heads from Space Jam. They were popping heads off of them.
That's right. Weird times back then, but hey, it was awesome. Sal, I'm sorry you did not get to experience the Ninja Turtle pies.
That's okay.
They were something, man. They were really something.
I got to experience the TMNT ice cream from like
with the
trucks that just
the bubblegum eyes. Did it have bubblegum eyes?
Oh yeah. But when you opened it, it was always one eye was like really cockeyed and no one had a bandana and it was all melted.
Alex, the Ninja Turtle pies, like experience them also reminds me of like, remember the wrestling ice cream bars?
Oh yeah.
Now they tried making them and bringing them back.
They did. I didn't try them though. Did you?
I bought them and I opened one up and I ate it and I was like,
no good.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Like, did nobody remember what they tasted like? Because it was not this.
No.
Not the same.
I turned off my camera. I went and I collected some items real quick. Some of my stuff. So I have this button here. I got a couple of those. These trading cards.
Nice.
Right. There's also this cup right here.
Oh yeah, that looks vintage.
And like I said,
one of my favorite things of all time. They're coming out of our shell store.
I'm telling you that, some people when I'm at the gym, they've got like hardcore like death metal playing and stuff.
That's what
and I'm listening to Pizza Power. If anybody would like, I could read through some lyrics here if anybody's interested.
No.
I didn't think so.
We're gonna save that topic for the end if we have time.
You do a live reading.
All right. So speaking of I'll take a beer, Tony. Thanks, boss. I got Desert Rat himself as my slave labor here in the Valverse HQ.
Did he move in with you?
Huh?
Did he move in with you already?
Yeah, he did. We like me and my wife, we actually, thought
you adopted him.
We adopted him. I started filling out the paperwork for taxes to claim him for next year. But
now you got to teach him to drive on the other side of the with the steering wheel, though.
No, he can. So I was surprised that he actually knew what he was doing. He drove my truck a little bit ways down to Joe Fest, so he knows what he's doing. He's trustworthy. He's housebroken. So I think we'll keep him for a little bit. We won't send him back right away.
That's how I know I'm the Mikey of this stream. I was not trusted to drive the truck. That's a nice lunch show you got there.
Thanks.
All right, so getting back on topic here. The next thing I kind of wanted to cover was something I never really thought about, and I was trying to think of what we could talk about for the stream. And this one is, if the movie's so great, and it's close to being really perfect, but I want to hear from you guys if there's something you would have done differently or added to the movie. Please let me know. So, Alex, let's start with you. What would you have added or done differently to the movie?
Well, I don't know. You guys can go on YouTube. Probably seen it. The deleted scenes from the movie, the 1990 movie. I would have not cut out the part where Shredder is kind of like training the foot soldiers to be, and he's in this deleted scene. He's sitting like in a meditative position, and they're all kind of running towards, or a few of them are like running towards him, and he like beats him up, and it kind of just shows how much more of a badass he is in the film. There's also another scene which I'm kind of glad that they cut out at the very end. I think it was like, it might have even been a post-credit thing where Danny and April go to this comic book company or publisher's office, and they're trying to pitch a comic book about the turtles, and the turtles are actually hanging outside of the building, looking through the window of the publisher, kind of like acting goofy and stuff. But what I would have done is just extended some of the fight scenes, maybe even too. But it's hard to be nitpicky with this film. I mean, it's so, like you said, it's so near perfect. Like, it's just really splitting hairs if I try to like say that it needed something else or was missing something. So, but that's what I got. Yeah.
All right, Sal.
So the thing I would have changed, kind of dovetails into Secret of the Ooze. The one thing I would have changed, as much as I unashamedly love Super Shredder, I think he's great. I love all the extra spikes and the big hulking frame of him in Secret of the Ooze. But I would have had Leo stab him and kill him like he does in the comics. Because I know what the plan was for Secret of the Ooze, and because they made Shredder live at the end, like that, even though he was crushed by a garbage compactor, like shouldn't have survived that, but movie magic. Which, by the way, Casey Jones is like, murder. doesn't even like hesitate. Just oops.
Well, I mean, he assumed he died during the fall, right?
That would be a move pulled out of the comic, right? That was, with like Leo shish kebab and Shredder up there and everything. Like, I could see that happen in the comic. That is a bit like, it takes you a bit aback when you watch it in the movie, given how lighthearted the vast majority of things are. So, just murder a dude in there.
Yeah, but because of that, like if they had taken Shredder off the table completely, then they would have had to have executed the original plan for Secret of the Ooze. So that's the only thing I would have changed.
All right, Jeremy.
A huge missed opportunity for not having the neutrinos.
I'm taking you out of the stream.
I couldn't keep a straight face on that one.
There's not. I don't know, man. I gotta agree with Alex. There's not a lot extra you could do.
It wasn't the right time for Bebop and Rocksteady to show up. It wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know
what other elements you could have added to this to make it a more complete package, to be honest with you. Alex, I'm not trying to be argumentative. I swear to God, I'm not, but I'm glad that they left that scene out of there.
With the Shredder
I like the fact that we didn't get to see like what he's capable of until the very end. We just kind of had to speculate the entire time. But yeah, that's it for me. I know I'm shilling hard for the movie, but I don't know how to improve it.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it the last couple of days, trying to figure what my answer is, and I think thinking like a kid and thinking like an adult. And as a kid, my favorite turtle being Leo, I kind of wanted Leo to kill Shredder. I wanted him to like win the battle. I didn't like that Splinter was like, I came in and saved you guys. I thought Leo could have done it on his own. But as an adult looking back on it now, I think it would have been cool if we got more interaction with Shredder and Splinter, especially when he's chained up. Like if Shredder's talking to him about Amato Yoshi, you know, it would have been cool to kind of tie them back together because it kind of started with them, and now it's like years later they come face to face again. I probably would have added something like that just for a little more character depth, but again, it's hard, and that's why I'm glad I kind of gave that question, because it's when you think of a almost perfect movie, like how do you make Empire better? How do you make 89 Batman better? How do you make Turtles better? You know,
reference.
What
You keep,
with
Empire and
that's for
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think you should pick a different film because it's kind of.
Well, I'm trying to think of a movie that's very impactful.
Conan the Destroyer.
I didn't want to bring up Conan the Destroyer because I know a lot of people get, you know.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
But I'll start saying Conan the Destroyer. It's a perfect movie, and it's better than Barbarian by leagues. Listen, Barbarian shouldn't even be in the series because Destroyer is so good. It should just be Destroyer. That should be the Conan franchise. Just Destroyer. Grab him. Take him. All right. So now I want to get into the area of the stream that Sal's probably been looking forward to.
Oh, baby.
We'll kind of let him start. Yeah. Thanks, Tony. Now we're ready to keep going here. So after this movie, some would say the franchise kind of fell apart a little bit. I think 3 of the 4 of us would agree. One of us.
Let's be clear, though, the film franchise.
Huh?
Right? You mean like the film franchise? Like
the film, yes. I'm saying film franchise. Now, Secret of the Ooze comes out a few years later, and it's
1 year. Within a year.
Was it? Was it that quick?
Within a year. That's part of the reason why, you know, some people would say that the quality of the film isn't up to par because they rushed it out so quick.
Well, it's a vastly different movie. You know, you don't think so right away, but if you go back and watch them like back to back. The costumes are different. The voices are different.
They are. Yeah.
The comedy, the action sequences, the tone, the cinematography. There's every single aspect of the second movie is vastly different from the first. And then you get into the third, and then it's just a totally different series. It's Mickey Mouse Club all over the place. Now, I'm wondering, the first movie was so amazing, and it did so well, you know, financially and critically. You have to wonder why that happened. Like, how do you go from, you know, 90 to Secret of the Ooze? Like, you look at, I'll reference 89 Batman again. You go from 89 Batman to Batman Returns, where while Batman Returns was a different movie, it's still on par. It's still very much in there. They let kind of Tim Burton run a little more with the way he does things. But Turtles is incredibly different. And I want to know what you guys think about why that happened and like how we got to that point of getting to Turtles in Time and just being just terrible. So so I want to start with Sal, because Sal thinks, excuse me, that it Secret of the Ooze does sort of hold up. So Sal, give us your take on that, please.
All right. So Secret of the Ooze came out in 91. I just read the back of it before I put it down here. Again, this is my childhood tape, so it's been with me ever since. Unfortunately, TMNT 3 is nowhere to be found, unfortunately. Much to my own chagrin.
That's a good thing.
So
it's lost in time.
It was
nice one.
It was in feudal Japan for more than 60 hours, and then it just stayed there, I guess.
Came back naked.
That's right. So someone, Reds 006 is correct. It's parents. Parents messed up TMNT 2. Because they took their kids to TMNT thinking it was going to be just like the cartoon, all lighthearted and pizza all the time, and you know, no one really gets hurt and all that kind of stuff. So they were in an uproar about it, supposedly. I was 2 at the time. So that caused a lot of changes. And the original plan was to have Baxter Stockman and his Mousers be the villains for Secret of the Ooze. They're actually going to talk about the Ooze. It was going to play a much larger role in the movie, where it gets like 3 lines of dialogue in this movie. But yeah, so Baxter Stockman and the same reason why Casey Jones is not in Secret of the Use was parents. They found him to be too violent. Again, because he's just like, oops, murder. And I guess parents weren't very happy about that.
I thought Jose Canseco sued him.
That's right. So there was a lot of pushback on that. And so the movie studios were like, we're going to make it more cartoony. And Eastman and Laird were like, no, we like it. We want more of our stuff. Like, make it more like they wanted to go the opposite way and be more like their own comics. Movie studios couldn't really agree on it. So they were like, get fucked. And they made Secret of the Use and made it more cartoony. That's why they don't use their weapons as much. They make them fight with their hands and their feet and all that. And you got to love well-intentioned parents, you know, because they don't want their kids seen fighting on movies. They don't want to take them to the movie theater, watch people fight on screen, where they can just keep them at home and they can watch it live happen there. So, you know, if anyone's going to beat up someone in front of my kid, it's going to be me.
If anybody's going to expose my child to violence, it's going to be me.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That's interesting. And that's the real history of the change between the two?
From what I was reading, yeah. I mean, you know, like every source nowadays, it's on the internet, but I read it on sources that that's the case.
Sal is right about that. And also, you know, greedy corporate movie industry said, oh, this is successful. Let's make another one just like it. Let's play it safe. And let's get it out quick. Like we mentioned, it was out within a year. I mean, because this movie, the original movie, I think it was like a $20 million budget or something. It made like 200 million. It was like the biggest independent movie ever for a while.
Yeah.
And that's
for a long time. So, but like, to me, it's like this, the 1990 movie is like the cap of like that first wave of Turtles fandom. And I see like talking to like guys like Sal's age and people our age, there's a real big distinction between like people die by the second movie. Like they love it as much, if not more than the first one, if you're of a certain age, or like, even like if you're just a few years younger than like your mid 40s, like we are now, or early 40s, it's like, you love that second movie. I don't know about the third movie. Actually, I do. Nobody likes that movie.
I like that movie, sir.
You like it? Really?
Of course I do.
Oh, all the turtles are cross-eyed. Terrible. But that was a completely that wasn't the Henson company that was doing effects by that part. But
you can tell because they relegated Splinter to a shoulders and up puppet that hangs out.
Yeah, he would come out of the window like a Sesame Street puppet, like he was Oscar the freaking Grouch or something, man.
Quickly, speaking about kids my age and all that, Jeremy, you mentioned Bebop and Rocksteady. That was part of this, is that the studio wanted to put Bebop and Rocksteady in the movie really bad, and Eastman and Laird said, absolutely not.
In part two?
Part two.
They did not want those characters, so that's how Taka and Razar were made. Yeah, they were made as replacements. And because I was a kid, like really young when I saw it, I actually liked Taka Razar more than Bebop and Rocksteady.
Another thing I hear, with there's a really, you can really tell like what age you were, if like depending on whether you like part two or not.
And
see, I got behind Toka, but not Razar, because to me it's like, if you were gonna like engineer some things, it would have been cool if like the turtles fought another team of 4 bad turtles. That's why it's like Slash, in the figure line, and you had Toka. It's like, man, they should have did that. And then you brought in like this fox. It's like,
see, but that's like a common mistake that like those movies were making back then. It's like Batman Returns. We didn't just get one villain; we got 2. It's like, what the best thing to do is like what Sal has said, what they were gonna do is like the Baxter Stockman story, because even in the comics, that is the following story. Or actually, it's either him or the Triceratons. So either one of those two. I don't think you could have done like another race, like of dinosaurs like that on that budget to get it out that quick. But I think the Baxter Stockman, they really missed the boat with like that, the way they could have done with that.
Can you imagine the practical effect Mausers, like in the same vein as those penguins from Batman Returns?
Right. That was,
those mechanical little mini monsters that they made for that. I think those Mausers would be
Right.
fantastic. man.
Yeah,
That was
especially at that time, because
Yeah.
I'm a big practical special effects guy.
Same here.
Like
Yeah.
I will always choose that over the CGI stuff, just because it looks like something tangible that you can grab and fuck around with. But if at that time, that was like the crescendo of like practical effects in movies before the computer started taking over. So they would have blown it out of the park with that.
Yeah.
That was also part of the reason why the studio fought back, because of the monetary investment that would have needed to occur for the Mousers.
But I mean, again, it's like they're trying to penny pinch by that point. I mean, you're talking
Right.
about a $20 million film that made,
That's proven. Yeah.
like, it's like invest a little bit of more money, invest a little bit more time to write a better story, mix all those things together, and you're going to have, well, I'm sorry, Sal, but
No, it's fine. What I was going to say actually dovetails into what Master Son is saying. I forgot to mention specifically why they thought Casey was too violent, was because he uses things like hockey sticks and baseball bats, things that kids could easily get their hands on.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, not every kid's going to have a fucking ninja sword and nunchucks. But
the thing was, I was making nunchucks.
Right.
You know what I
used
mean?
to
I
buy
was making them out of those thick gauge dowel rods.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know, like I
remember
was
when-
making my own, and making goose eggs on my head because I don't know how to nunchuck right, but still, like, yeah.
Real quick, Master Son 42, thank you for that. Very funny point. Definitely goes into what Sal was saying. Thank you for that super chat. But kind of going to that, like the second movie, I think they got rid of Mikey's nunchucks, right?
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's okay for Leonardo to have swords,
Yeah.
but nunchucks are.
You replace them with sausage links, sir. Good
Yeah.
enough.
I don't think, Sal, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know the second film all that well, but I don't think Leo really does. He even take him out of his sheath, and if he does he ever even like swing at the?
I
any of
don't
them
think
with
so.
I don't think he does.
I think Donnie might be the only
one. Yep.
Who, like, even here on the cover, he's the only one holding his weapon.
Yeah.
Leo's are sheathed, and you can't even see Raff's or Mike's. Like, you can't see them at all. And that was a big thing. They didn't want them to use their weapons. It was kind of like what they did with Motu back in the cartoon. Like, he had to use his sword to hit anybody, so he'd like hit rocks with them and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Well, even in the cartoons at that time, they took away Mikey's ability to use his nunchucks when they went from weekday to Saturday time slot. They took away his nunchucks, and he was using like a grappling hook.
Yeah. Well, that was because of the UK audience,
right?
Yeah.
They had to cut down
ninjas.
nunchucks completely. So they're like, you know what? We'll just make them use a grappling hook, and that way there doesn't have to be any editing.
Yeah.
So
Lame.
I guess back to the topic of what happened between the two. I don't know the history there. I've honestly never researched it, but my theory was just exactly what Alex was saying, that you have this indie flick that was a huge hit, right? And then once it started generating a ton of money, then a bunch of schmucks with suits in a boardroom somewhere
try to commercialize it.
Said, hey, we got to get another one out. We got to get it out quick. Turtles are hot. And then you wound up, like I was saying about why the first film holds up. If you make something of quality, it will hold up. And I think that's why there's so much like ire directed at the second one. I don't like it. I don't, I buy a lot of NECA TMNT stuff. I don't have anything from Secret of the Ooze. No Too Sweet Super Shredders. I saw what you guys did earlier too. I just no NWO Super Shredders.
Yeah, baby. Thank you, Brian Dillingham, for the super chat.
Yeah.
I think I mean, when I was a kid, I loved Secret of the Ooze. As I grew older, I saw right through that movie. Even like, Super Shredder was so cool when that movie came out, but then it's like, and you watch it now and you're like, shit. Like, I have the NECA one, and I was excited for the NECA figure, but still you go back and watch it and it's like, dude, he's in a big purple airbrush suit. Even Kevin Nash couldn't make that thing look good. And it's like they all he does is knock down a dock, and it's like, shit, man.
He goes full Kyle on the dock down there, just
right.
Slams a monster and starts punching support beams.
And I love how, like, is it Leo that tries to reason with him? Like, I'm like, dude, if you couldn't reason with him in the first movie when he was kicking the shit out of you guys, you think you're gonna reason with him when he's 8 feet tall? Like, come on.
One of the things that I think downgrades the second movie from the first one is there's the whole Kino subplot. It's like
Yes.
I feel like he was thrown in there so kids can use him as like the avatar throughout the film.
Yeah.
Like, oh, little kid is tagging along on the, the second April, I forget the actress's name. Although she was in the third one and she did an okay job, I don't think she was as believable as Judith Hoag was in the first one. But yeah, the Kino's sub story is like, I felt like it was forced. And I actually like that actor. Like, I think Jeremy asked before when we were backstage about the connection between Kino and the first movie. Kino was played by like a child martial arts star. Have you guys ever heard of The Last Dragon? It's like the Barry Gordy. Yeah. So
who has
well, I mean, some
Come
people.
on, man.
Yeah. So he's been acting and practicing martial arts since he was like a child. So I think he was like 5 or 6 or 7 around that time. So he was actually Donatello's stunt double in the first movie in the suit. He didn't recite the lines or was a voice actor, but whenever you see those fight scenes, like the one on the rooftop, he was the one in the suit, and you could totally tell because he also plays him in the second. He also plays a stunt double for Donnie in the second movie, and you could tell by his mannerisms, just like almost like the Bruce Lee kind of like movement, that it's him in the suit. So
I didn't know that, man.
Yeah.
Well, I knew he was in the suit in the first one. I didn't know he was doing stunts in the suits again.
Yeah, in the second one, Ernie Reyes Jr. Yep.
Yeah,
I forgot he's in Last Dragon. Man.
Yeah, he's a little kid.
What a great movie.
Yeah,
but yeah, the Kino subplot is a distraction, and nothing against that actor. I mean, you can see his skill; it's undeniable, right?
I
hated him.
Weird.
I'm just like, why is this kid taking up all this movie time? I want to see the
Right. I don't need a fifth turtle.
I recognize him. I knew the actor, and I liked him when he, with Last Dragon, but they made me hate him.
Well, it's like the kids that you're targeting with the movie
don't need an anchor character to start. They know TMNT already. They've got the toys. They've got the kite. Remember back when every toy line had a kite that went with it? They've got the lunchboxes. They don't need an anchor character.
So I just wish Sal, I wonder what he's thinking right now. It's like we're all like bashing his favorite.
Well, no, it's interesting. It is. I mean, like I said, I liked Ooze as a kid, but now hate it today. So it's like I can see the differences very clearly. But Sal, you still think that the second one is still a great movie, right?
Oh, I still love this. Like the thing is, like I know it's not a good movie. Like I know that, but I still love it.
But you enjoy it, yeah. See, I can't watch the second movie and enjoy it like I enjoy the first one.
Yeah, and you're right about the age thing as well. Like TMNT 1990 will always be my definitive TMNT.
Yeah.
My wife's brother, right, who was born in 87, like we're all from 82. He was born in 87. Secret of the Ooze is his definitive one.
Yeah,
he doesn't like the first one. More than likely because it resonates closer to the cartoons that they were watching at the time more than the first film does. So that could be one of the crossovers. I don't know.
It's interesting where ages fall can have such an impact on certain movies. And I'm not trying to be funny here, but I think that's why I love Destroyer so much and don't like Barbarian. I think the age thing is different for me. Like I caught Destroyer at the right time. Sal caught Secret of the Ooze at the right time. I just think it's just these small lanes of traffic,
really separated by like a year or two if you think about it,
Right.
So what I was also a fan of TMNT 3 Turtles in Time. So there's that. And the thing is, to speak on age, when that movie came out, like I was still at that age where I was knocking on manhole covers out in town and seeing if the turtles. Like
that kind of goes into
sewer drains looking for them.
That kind of goes into our super chat. Chris Smith, thank you so much for coming on to this stream. It is an honor to have you here. Your stuff is fantastic. I just got my Boba Fett from Tony, and I got my Slave Leia the other day. So thank you for making such a great product. We're going to talk about something very soon. But yeah, so Chris Smith saying that people were flushing turtles down the drain trying to make Ninja Turtles out of it. Hey, listen, man, I'm okay with that.
how many turtles died? in the
Right?
process?
Poor turtles. What is this? Florida? Florida, don't they like flush stuff down the toilet, and then you have the Everglades full of just anacondas and shit?
I think it's that a mutagen that they just eat bath salts.
Ah,
That's how you get your superheroes out of that state.
Bad
That's
sauce.
right.
Killer.
Ah,
I'm waiting for all the Florida men to form like a Voltron of Florida men, become this unstoppable megalith, this human mass, making its way into the state.
It's just swinging alligators at people. Yeah. Swinging alligators. What made me think about? Oh yeah, never mind. Sorry, my brain went somewhere weird.
who was the alligator character in the toy line?
Leatherface.
yeah,
Leatherhead.
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 So Leatherhead.
Leatherhead, Leatherface, one of those. Yeah.
So it's a weird story, but it does involve Leatherhead. The word guarantee for a long time.
Guarantee.
I guarantee. I used to say that all the time as a kid, not realizing where I got it from.
Mm.
And I saw a snippet of the cartoon. I was like, oh, that's why I've been like, because I knew that's not how it was said, but I would just say it that way and not realize it was one of those things. I guess I saw and absorbed it through osmosis and just kind of data dumped and kept saying it.
Could
thought
it
I
have
got it
also
from
been the
Gambit.
influence of? Yeah, I was just gonna say it could have been Gambit's influence as well.
Yep.
Possibly, I did
He
love
didn't say
Gambit.
that though. Gambit didn't say that. He said mon ami. No, he said he never said guarantee. Not like with an emphasis. Like it wasn't one
Probably
of his.
said it's a roguelike. I guarantee I'm gonna get you in bed.
Guarantee.
Well,
No gloves here, Moshe.
oh
That's
god.
right.
Yeah, you know what? I came up with my thing. I came up with my thing that the first movie's missing. They could have
Oh,
very
okay.
easily. They could have very easily put Irma in there as a friend for
No.
April.
No.
What do you think?
I
No?
think no. I think if anything, like they could have made. I don't know, because it's like if you put any more elements of the cartoon in it, I think it dumbs it down a little bit. Like
Yeah, it could be. Yeah,
like
you know.
maybe like if you could have given the van that they were using some cartoon van color aesthetics.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that. I don't know. But then again, it's
Okay.
like, the movie's so perfect. By the
is
way,
so
also, did you guys ever read the comic book adaptation?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
The
dude.
Archie comics?
Yeah, it was Archie. It was published through Archie.
Yeah.
But it was like a serious take because back in those days, I don't know if they do this anymore in the comic book industry. I should. But they did like a literal comic book adaptation. It was taken seriously, and it was like a double issue thing that Archie published. It was like drawn by Jim Lawson. I think it was inked like Eastman and Laird themselves. But it also included Jim Lawson, who was like one of the regular TMNT artists at that time. It also included the deleted scenes, except for the very last one where they're at the publisher's office. So, man, and like even like the dialogue in that is pretty accurate to the film. So,
Does
guys,
it
check that out.
does
Go
it
ahead.
include the claustrophobic joke?
That's a good one.
Oh, that's a good question. I can't remember.
I wonder if like you show that movie on like
Yeah.
CBS nowadays. It's like, are they going to keep that joke in that movie?
Oh no, they're
Yeah. I never even looked at another guy.
Never looked at another guy.
That's a good question. I don't know if it's in there.
Did they bring Casey back for the third movie? They did, right?
Yeah, they brought him back. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he
think he's wearing a
babysits
wig.
all the naked Japanese guys.
Yeah, and then he also plays like an invalid and like back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
he plays wit.
Yeah.
I guess time travel in TMNT 3 works a lot like Terminator. Like you can't take your clothes through.
Yeah.
Except for like your samurai diaper or whatever they were wearing.
That's probably where they got it from, to be
yeah.
honest with you.
All right. Guys, this has been a good one. We've got a little time left, and Sal had a good idea at the beginning of the show, and I kind of want to get to that. So we'll kind of end on this one.
I'll just defer to Jeremy reading lyrics out of that cassette tape.
No, we are not.
Oh,
I'll hit this end
I've
broadcast
been
button
waiting
right
my
now.
whole life for this.
So
All the
No,
events of my life have led to this moment, sir.
Do you still have a tape deck?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
So I have a.
Yeah, he's like
I have
already. He's got it queued up. And everything.
No, we are not playing that, Jeremy. But go ahead, tell me your tape deck story.
No, it's
I have one. It's a I have a record player / tape deck.
Okay,
combo,
okay.
where I listen to the Elton John Lion King LP on there.
Oh God.
My goodness.
Well,
So
All right.
as mature.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I've had a,
It was a joke. Jesus.
Is it?
I don't need to say anything that's gonna get me made more fun of than I already am. I'm the whipping boy punching bag.
No. You're secure in
yeah.
your masculinity.
No, victim. So what's the question?
so the question is, so obviously we all love this movie. We love the Turtles, but we all have our favorites. And I want to know everyone's favorite. Who's your favorite turtle, and who can you, and is it your favorite turtle because you can relate to them, or can you relate to a different turtle that is your favorite? So Sal, because this was your kind of topic, why don't you kick us off with it?
all right. So I've had a running theory for a long time that your favorite character is typically either the one you identify with the most, or it's the character that you want to be like because you're not like them at all. So for me, in this case, my favorite is Leo because that's the correct answer. He has swords, he has swords and he's the leader. Unfortunately, the one I identify with the most is Mikey because I'm aloof and I like to think I'm funny on some days, but I think Leo's my favorite because I aspire to be that kind of, level-headed, like intelligent kind of leader-esque type person, which is just not me. But that's kind of my running theory on that.
Alex?
Well, I think we're gonna get at least 3 Leos as our favorites, unless Jeremy has a different idea. But Leo. One thing about this movie. Here's one thing. We're going back to an earlier question real quick that we could change. I think maybe I would have, because in the movie, Raph is like the leader. They even say it in the lyrics of the Partners in Crime theme song. Raphael leads the group. I loved Leo. He's my favorite because he was a leader in, the books and the cartoons. So, and I think
That's
it's
the plan from our great leader.
right. Yeah. But the movie was more
Sit there on our butts.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you guys disagree? Do you guys think that Raphael wasn't treated as like the leader in the movie, or like the focal point?
It was Leonardo all the way.
No, it was definitely Leo.
Yeah.
You think Leo? Okay, no, okay. Then I might be. Well, then at least I would say Raphael was more of the main character. I think because he had that thing with Casey.
He had the best characterization.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, Leo, because everything that they said in the original cartoon theme song, Leonardo leads. That's
you see it, especially when Raphael is in that comatose state and they're trying to accidentally not drown him in that
right. Yeah.
But you have Leo does a very something that you would expect to see from someone who's taken the mantle of leadership and sit there the entire time because a member of his team is down, and he's going to be the first person he sees when he finally comes to. So yeah, really good character. But that's not my choice though.
Who is it?
Jeremy?
But mine is Donnie for the dumbest reason, and it's because the ease of recreating his weapon. I mean, it was like any branch that fell off of a tree. I was swinging that thing around. I mean, the tube from the inside of a roll of wrapping paper. Like anything could be turned into Donnie's bow staff when I was a kid. So that's really why. Like I said, it's a dumb reason.
All right.
And the color of the headbands too was like blue is like my favorite color. So
yeah,
it's also another reason why I grabbed it. Man,
Yeah.
we should have wore headbands for this. Like different color.
Shit.
Man.
Who says I'm not?
See, green's my favorite color, but no one had a green headband, so I was kind of screwed there.
Yeah.
I was devastated. I was like, why is there no green bandana when it's like, well, it's a turtle.
Green on green. Maybe that's
Hey,
why.
look, it's an opportunity that we can't miss for the 2023 Secret of the Ooze panel when this comes around next year.
All right. All right.
So save the date.
All right. Let's see. My favorite as a kid was I was a Leo kid just because of the swords. It was like I went with the guy with the best weapon. It's like, you're not going to beat two swords. You know, one sword still would have won, but it's like, wait, two swords? Okay, I'm sold. But I think for those of you who know me, I'm definitely a Raph all the way. You know, and I'll just kind of leave it there. But yeah, if anyone doesn't have any more points to make on this amazing movie, any of you?
No, just if you haven't and you're a fan of this movie, get the soundtrack. It's great.
Get the sound. Listen, go watch it. I'm telling you, go watch it. It's worth it. Listen to the soundtrack. It's worth it. Don't watch Secret of the Ooze. Don't watch that either. This movie, like, you know, and it would be great if you weren't a Turtles fan as a kid, or, you know, if you were too old for Turtles, even now, just go back and watch this movie. I would love to know if this movie, like, if you watch it now and you're like, wow, that was actually a really good movie. Because not just because we're Turtles fans, I think it you know, kind of looking objectively, it's a really well done movie. So give it a chance. It's really good. Hopefully we sold you on it. It means a lot to the four of us, and hopefully it means a lot to many of you as well. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for tuning into all the ICONICON panels. There's been some amazing content this year. It is last year was amazing, and this year is so much better, and it's just going to get better next year. So thank you for my guests for coming on. Jeremy, Alex, Sal. Why don't you guys just tell everyone where they could find you? Jeremy, we'll start with you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Authority Figure Studio. You can also find me on Facebook at Authority Figure, first name Authority, last name Figure.
Awesome. Sal?
You can find me at 2 Cents Toys. Logo looks just like that. I've been heavily involved in ICONICON the last 2 years, both as a participant and in the planning committee. I think it went off really great this year. I think there's one more video coming out, and then we have the closing ceremonies at 9 o'clock. So this is one of my favorite streams to have been on the entire time. But yeah, that's where you can find me, and thanks for having me.
Alex?
Where am I? I don't know. I'm all over there. Facebook.
Where am I?
I don't just buy one of my books. You know, I think one of the Godzilla versus Power Rangers covers I did is out right now. So if you're a comic book collector, go buy that if you want to. And if you want to look up my art and stuff, just look up my name.
Go request to be in his top 8 on MySpace, please.
I wish it was still around.
I know, right? I was such a MySpace fan just because I didn't go to college right away. So I was jealous of the Facebook people. So I was like, I'm getting on MySpace because you don't need a college.
Right. You had to. It was like more of a college thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, thank you, fellas. Thank you for everyone in the chat. Thank you for all the super chats. You guys have been awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed this panel. Go watch the rest of the ICONICON content and go order a pizza and cowabunga, as cheesy as that sounds. Take care, everyone. We're out.